everyone. Doing well out there, I hope. Let's learn a bit of slow blues today, shall we? With Mark Knopfler, showcased on Bob Dylan's Slow Train from Dylan's 1979 album, Slow Train Comin'. Now that this trio of solos, they've got a real Albert King, B.B. King vibe to them. As Albert and B.B. were two of Mark's main influences as a young lad, and he seems to be channeling them here to some degree on these three solos. Really great stuff. Without doubt, good stuff to learn and practice to help dial in that touch, feel, and expression that is so important in good blues playing. And all played at a pretty relaxed pace for you beginners and intermediate guitarists out there. One final thing before we get started. Now, as you may or may not know, Mark Knopfler was and is a finger picker. However, I will be playing these three solos with a pick, as not everyone is able or comfortable finger picking. That said, if you are comfortable finger picking, just put down your pick and use your fingers for full Mark Knopfler authenticity on these three solos. That said, this is more of a slow blues lesson, first and foremost, rather than a straight up Mark Knopfler tutorial, despite the fact that it is indeed Mark Knopfler playing these solos. Regardless, let's close in here a little bit, dig into the first of three mini tutorials, starting with the intro solo that I just played at the top of this video. Alright then, Mark Knopfler on Bob Dylan's Slow Train from 1979 Slow Train Comin' album. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and before we dig into the first of three solos in this one, I just want to show you the chords that we're going to be using for all the rhythm parts in this. We're also soloing over this same progression. Pretty simple stuff. It's just three chords, and it's got this kind of reggae shuffle to it. A minor, D minor, and F major. And it kind of goes something like this. On to D minor, back to A minor, repeat. D minor, A minor, off to F major, back to D minor, back to A minor. So that's it. That's all the rhythm parts. It's also what we're soloing over. So, it does not change throughout this entire track. So for the solo, we're going to switch up to the neck pickup, raise our volume a little bit, and this is the first solo. So we're starting with a hammer on 8 to 10 of the B string. Give that some nice wide vibrato. Up to 13, pull it back off to 10. Again, more vibrato. Back to 7 of the G string, bend, release. And when you release it back to the natural note, you're going to pick it again. Down to 8 of the B string for a full step bend. And then you're just going to ride right up the A minor from the bend. Down to the 5, and just ride up the 5s of the E, B, and G, and then finish on the 7 of the D string. So that's the first half. Alright, second half, back to 8, hammer on to 10 again. Now this time we're going to do a little rake down this this little chord here, 9, 8, 8, and then drop onto the 10, like that. Now a rake, because we're picking, right? Mark Knopfler is finger picking this, kind of like that. Right? But we're going to rake it because we're using a pick. Back to 7 of the G, bend, release. Kind of a slow bend, release. Pre-bend, release it off to 5. And then back onto 7. And then a slide into 5 of the A. We're going to go 5, 6, 7. down to 5 of the G, finish on the 7 of the D. And that's the first solo. Classic blues licks. Good. Let's check out the second solo, the main solo, a little bit longer. All right, so the main solo starts right, same little box, right? A minor box, little extension of the A minor pentatonic. So sliding into 9, grabbing the 10 of the B, back to 9 of the G, and then another hammer on from 8 to 10 of the B. And then this clever little lick. So 9, 10, 9, down to 8 of the high E and back to 10 of the B, 9 of the G, back to 10 of the B, and then a quick slide from 8 into 10. Now we're going to shift fingers here, because he's going to grab that 10, give it a 1.5 bend and choke it off. Now you can do it this way, I suppose. That, when you land on that 10 right there, you can back it up. That's probably the best thing to do. Back it up to 8, slide it in. So now you're ready with a good bending finger, right? And you don't have to worry about shifting fingers. So you're going to give that a 1.5 and then choke it off. So from the beginning. 8 of the high E, 2 bends, and then pull off 8 to 5. Right on to 8 of the B for a full step bend. Into that. 5, 7, back to 5, roll up to the 5 of the G. B string, double bend, full step. And then you're going to release it off to 13 and then grab the 14 of the G. Back onto the 15, full step bend 1 time this time. And then you're going to release off to 13 and go right into a full step bend with your index. And then release the bend back to the natural note on 13 and then grab 14 of the G. Right? Shift back to your bending finger here, your ring finger on the 13, and just give that a full step bend. Now we're going to do 2 more bends on that 13 of the B. We're going to go up a 1.5 steps and then another full step. Kind of like that, very Gilmore-ish. Drop back off here to 8 of the B, and then just pull it off to 5. Good, from the beginning of this solo. Good. Let's finish up this solo. Back onto 13, pull it off to 10 twice. And then we're into that. So 10 of the high E, 2 full step bends. Release it off to 8, grab the 10 of the B, go back to the 8 of the high E. And when you go back to that, you're going to give it a little bend with your index and then choke it off. And then finishing the solo with this. So bend on 10. Going to drop back off to 8 for a full step bend and then release it back to the natural note. And then finish on the 10 of the B. Doing full step bends with your index on the high E in this position is not easy. You got to get some real strength into it to get it up there. And that is the end of the main solo. So let's run through it from the beginning here. Good. That is the main solo. Let's check out the outro solo. It's a little bit shorter. Alright, the outro solo starts pulling off, like we've already done before, 13 off to 10. B string. Up to 15. Double bend, 15. Off to 13, finish on the 14. And then we're back into another bend on 15. And then we're into that. So bend, off to 13. Going to hold this bend. The first one we're going to hold a little bit longer. And then you're going to go back on to 15, bend it I think 3 times, release it off to 13, and then grab the 14. And then we're going to go back to 13 for a quick another little bend and choke it off again. So from the beginning of this final solo. Right, you're going to go back to that 13, little bend, choke it off. And then we're into that. So down this little extension box again, you know, the 9, 8, 10s, right? Slide into that 9 and ride down the 8s. And then choke that note off, and a little pause, and then you're going to grab the 10 of the B. Kind of like that. And then you're going to jump on the 7 here. Do like 3 or 4 little bends. And then pull it off to 5. I think he's actually going back to the natural note, picking it, and then going off to 5. Right? Kind of like that. And then a little hammer on, 5 to 7. Down to 8. And we're going to repeat this 4 times. Right there. So bending 8, and then just riding up the 5s of the E and the B back into the bend. And you repeat that 4 times. And then we're going to drop down here to the 8 of the B string. And then we're into that. So full step bend, 8th fret, high E, release it, and then go 8, 7, 5. Back into another bend on the 8 of the B, and then release it, pull it off to 5. In the very end of the solo, as it's kind of fading out, 7/5 of the D sliding in, chromatic 7/6/5 of the A, slide it back to 3, and the 5 of the low E, and that's the end of the solo. So from the very beginning of that solo. And that is the outro solo. And that's it, my friends. That is how you play the 3 solos to Slow Train by Mark Knopfler from Bob Dylan's Slow Train Comin', his Born Again coming out party album from 1979, where he switched from Judaism to Christianity and wrote a whole album about it. And Mark Knopfler was rather taken aback to discover when he was asked to guest spot on this album that everything was about Christianity and Jesus, but he participated nonetheless. And great Bob Dylan album for sure. You know, not one of his best, but not a bad album. You know, if Christianity is your thing, I suppose, and every song on it is about Christianity. But you know, there you have it. That is how you play that one. And hope you're well out there. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.